Hello, this is Diana. This is my Trailblazers of the Universe YouTube channel. On my channel, I'm helping you fearlessly and unapologetically live your best, most authentic life. I'm helping you break through your barriers and transcend any limitations you may have. If that sounds good to you, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. So today's inspirational message is: rough paths often lead to beautiful destinations. How many times have you been out in nature? Or just somewhere where you're on a road that was like very rough, rocky, and then it leads to something beautiful, a beautiful destination. So the same is true for life in general. We go on rough paths. You ever heard the saying, if your path is harder, it's because your calling is higher? Often the people who have been through the most negative experiences, even trauma, which that includes myself, have a higher purpose. Even that dark, windy, even miserable road can still lead to a beautiful destination. And if anything, it makes you appreciate it that much more when you get there. It's all about the journey, right? So maybe you went through the darkest aspects of yourself, had a dark night of the soul, have been through just so much. How much heartache, how much trauma, how much disappointment can one person take? Can your soul take, right? It can feel like that sometimes. But just have hope that no matter what that path looked like, it can get better. We've seen it in nature, how those tough roads can still lead to the beautiful mountain view. Maybe there was even threats, maybe it was even dangerous, but you made it to the top of the mountain, right? And then once you get up there, you see things from a higher perspective, from a bird's eye view. So don't let appearances fool you. Just because something is really rough right now and hard and just feels like there's no hope, know that it can get better. Know that your entire existence of everything you've ever experienced, not just in this lifetime, but in other lifetimes, is all one. And time doesn't really exist, right? In the way that we think it does. All is the everlasting present moment. If you're going through a rough time, it seems like things haven't gone better in a while, everything's crashing, that's because the new needs to come together. That's the old you. I've said this in probably my past few videos, where the old you has to die so the new you can come together. The old reality has to fall apart so the new, better, improved reality can come together. So even if it's your whole world's in shambles, there's a purpose to it. And it doesn't mean it can't get better. There's a process, there's a journey, a spiritual journey within. Don't let the outside fool you. This is when you're going to be taught to go within. If you're having a dark night of the soul, you're being taught to go within. And that all these things that you were maybe attached to, that you thought were meant for you, weren't. There's better things that are meant for you. You're a divine spiritual being having a temporary human experience. You came here to transcend. You came here to balance your light and your dark, to experience all that is. And all that is darkness and light. All that is all of your experiences, the good and the bad. That's why I say don't label it, because labeling it gives it a meaning, right? I had a rough part in my life. I had a lot of rough parts. I was in darkness for years, complete darkness. I felt like my soul was gone. I went through substance addiction. My mom took her own life. There are a lot of choices that I made that weren't good. And I take responsibility for all the choices I made, but there's a purpose to it all. I went through a really tough, dark night of the soul. This is when you have to be an alchemist. And you have to learn the lesson. You came here on this earth to learn certain karmic lessons as well. So you have a divine purpose, a divine blueprint. You have certain people you're supposed to release karmic patterns with. You have a bunch of chaos, darkness, right, in this world. You came here to experience duality, and duality is the good and the bad, the dark and the light. There's polarity to everything, right? And sometimes we learn through the polarities. So some people need to learn through extremes. Like sometimes we have to be really miserable and suffer a lot to learn what we need to learn, to see, hey, that's very out of alignment. It doesn't need to be that way. You can do something different, right? That's how I've learned. I've always learned through extremes. I wish I had been more balanced most of my life, but I've always learned through the very extremes. of things. And that's how I've improved and got better. Not everybody has to learn that way, but, you know, that seems like that's the way I've learned most of the things in my life. Through all of the suffering and the hardships and those really intense emotions and even trauma, there is still light at the end of the tunnel. I'm proof of that. There are times where I tried to give up on life, but there was always a little glimmer. There is something more for me. Even through my darkest moments, I was able to see there's a higher perspective. There's something more meant for me. It can't be just this, right? You have to really expand your awareness. And even though I couldn't see it at the time, I was able to believe in something greater, something bigger, something more divine. You have to be the magician of your own life, right? You have to be an alchemist. You have to be able to transmute the energy and let all those experiences empower you instead of hinder you. If you extract the lesson, you pass the test, right? And especially if you apply the lesson next time. So no matter how your reality looks, no matter how hard it is, how depressed you are, how miserable you are, lonely you feel, just know that it can get better, that it all has a purpose, and that it will pass. Change is the only constant, but are you going with the changes or not? The reason why a lot of people are miserable, they are not going with the changes. They're trying to stay in this old version of themselves that doesn't exist anymore. Or it's part of you, right? Everything's part of you, but in the aspect of your spiritual growth, you're meant to evolve more, to move past this, right? To change, to align more with your highest self and your optimal timeline and your purpose. So when you're feeling a negative emotion, you're out of alignment with that version of you. Something you're thinking, feeling, or doing is not in alignment. So we have to figure out what that is. But just whatever it is, know that even the roughest paths, even the worst situations can still lead to beautiful destinations. And you have to find the glimmer, the light, even in the dark. Right? Sometimes you have to create your own light, or just tap into the light within you, and find things that bring you passion and joy, and find joy in the small things in life. Sometimes we're looking for something way outside of ourselves to make us feel better or to get us out of a situation, but no one's coming to save you. It's all within you. It's all you. So you have to alchemize your own energy. You have to be able to be an alchemist and transcend it and rise above whatever circumstance you're in. And I also did make a podcast on how to get out of an undesirable circumstance. I'll link that in the comments below, where I did also provide inspiration, motivation to help you if you're in a really bad circumstance, based on my own personal experiences and just wisdom that I've gained along my journey of life. That's all I have for today. If you like this content, hit those like and subscribe buttons. I also have a Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, and 2 podcasts. The links are in this video description. I also offer coaching if you need intuitive guidance to motivate and support you on your healing, spiritual, and/or self-improvement journey. My contact information is in this video description. Have a good day. Namaste.